Researchers uncover how the human brain separates, stores and retrieves memories. The future of data storage is double-helical. Research indicates geese may have been the first birds to be domesticated 7,000 years ago. I'm Nidhi Kumar and you're watching Science Time, a show that brings to you the best that science offers, from exciting developments in science and technology to futuristic solutions. Let's look at story number 1. Researchers uncover how the human brain separates, stores and retrieves memories. Researchers have identified two types of cells in our brains that are involved in organizing discrete memories based on when they occurred. This finding improves our understanding of how the human brain forms memories and could have implications in memory disorders such as Alzheimer's disease. The study was supported by the National Institutes of Health's Brains Research through Advancing Innovative Neurotechnology Brain Initiative and published in Nature Neuroscience. This work is transformative in how the researchers studied the way the human brain thinks. This study, led by Ueli Rutishauser, Ph.D., Professor of Neurosurgery, Neurology and Biomedical Sciences at the Cedars-Sinai Medical Center in Los Angeles, started with a deceptively simple question: how does our brain form and organize memories? We live our awake lives as one continuous experience, but it is believed, based on human behavior studies, that we store these events as individual distinct moments, what marks the beginning and end of a memory. This theory is referred to as event segmentation, and we know relatively little about how the process works in the human brain. These findings provide a look into how the human brain creates, stores and accesses memories. Because event segmentation is a process that can be effected in people living with memory disorders, these insights could be applied to the development of new therapies. And now, let's take a look at story number 2. Well, the future of data storage is double-helical. Research indicates in the age of digital information, anyone brave enough to navigate the daily news feels the global archive growing heavier by the day. Increasingly, paper files are being digitized to save space and protect information from natural disasters. From scientists to social media influencers, anyone with information to store stands to benefit from a secure, sustainable data logbook, and the double helifax fits the bill. DNA is one of the best options, if not the best option, to store archival data, especially its longevity, rivaled only by durability. DNA is designed to weather the Earth's harshest conditions, sometimes for tens of thousands of years, and remain a viable data source. Scientists can sequence fossil strands to uncover genetic histories and breathe life into long-lost landscapes. Despite its diminutive stature, DNA is a bit like Doctor Who's infamous police box, bigger on the inside than it appears. Every day, several petabytes of data are generated on the internet. Only 1 gram of DNA would be sufficient to store that data. That's how dense DNA is as a storage medium. Another important aspect of DNA is its natural abundance and near infinite renewability, a trait not shared by most advanced data storage systems on the market today. Silicon microchips, which often circulate for just decades before an unceremonious burial in a heap of landfilled e-waste. At a time when we are facing unprecedented climate challenges, the importance of sustainable storage technologies cannot be overestimated. Now, green technologies for DNA recording are emerging that will make molecular storage even more important in the future. And researchers added 7 new letters to the DNA's molecular alphabet and developed a precise letter perfect sequencing method. In nature, every strand of DNA contains 4 chemicals: adenine, guanine, cytosine and thymine, often referred to as initials A, G, C and T. They arrange and rearrange themselves along the double helix into combinations that scientists can decode or sequence to make meaning. The researchers expanded DNA's already broad capacity for information storage by adding 7 synthetic nucleobases to the existing 4-letter lineup. These innovations help transform the double helix into a robust, sustainable data storage platform fit for the information age and built to last well beyond the 21st century. The team's paper appeared in Nano Letters in February 2022. And with that, let's take a look at story number 3. Well, geese may have been the first birds to be domesticated 7,000 years ago. Geese may have been domesticated as early as 7,000 years ago in what is now China, according to a study of preserved geese bones. That may make them to be the first bird to be domesticated before chickens, although the timing of chicken domestication is uncertain. The finding extends the history of goose domestication and potentially the history of domestic poultry as a whole, says Masaki Eda at Hokkaido University Museum in Sapporo, Japan. Eda is a part of a team that has excavated an archaeological site in East China called Tianluoshan, which was a Stone Age village between about 7,000 and 5,500 years ago. Its inhabitants were basically hunter-gatherers, says Eda, but they also grew rice in paddy fields. The researchers have identified 232 goose bones at the Tianluoshan and say there are multiple lines of evidence that some of the geese were at least partially domesticated. 4 of the bones belong to immature geese that were less than 16 weeks old, with the youngest probably less than 8 weeks old. This implies they must have hatched at Tianluoshan, says Eda, because they were too young to have flown in from elsewhere. However, no wild geese breed in the area today, and it is unlikely that they did so 7,000 years ago, he says. Some of these animals also seem to have been locally bred based on the chemical makeup of their bones, which reflects the water they drank. These locally bred birds were all roughly the same size, indicating captive breeding. Finally, the researchers carbon dated the bones and found that the locally bred geese lived about 7,000 years ago. And with this, we come to an end of this edition of Science Time. We'll be back with more exciting stories from the world of science next week. Until then, stay tuned to India Science. Namaskar.